Welcome back. Kevin Sidebottom, speaker, author, and trainer, and I tour around and help sales organizations and leadership teams grow their influence with their team members and with customers to generate higher profits. Yep, that's what I do. Today, let's talk about how you build trust with your virtual team. That's right. With everybody being so remote and coming out of this pandemic where it thrust everybody to work remotely and where it's hard to have meetings together, we're going to talk about how you build trust in the future because you're going to see businesses transition into this more. They're not going to need all the brick and mortar to have a big office building when people can still be efficient from home. Now, it's going to take some time, but you'll see this happen. And you're seeing organizations that have team members that they sell off to or rent, whatever you want to call it, to organizations. So they have different program managers or assistants. You're seeing that happen already today. We need to be able to build trust with our virtual teams. Well, how do you do that? Well, there's going to be 3 questions we're going to answer on this video. We're going to show how you can actually be intentional and do things during your meetings to grow that. And then I'm going to give you one last tidbit that works for sales and works for anything else. Okay? So let's jump into it. Here's the first thing we have to do. To answer 3 questions at every interaction. Do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? Those 3 questions have been with us since the dawn of time, and we've had to use that for survival. Well, now in today's business, we also have to do that so we can work together. And when people are remote, it's very, very difficult to do. I mean, one-on-one interactions are very easy for you to build rapport and trust quickly. When you're remote, typically all the communication is either by phone, by email, or by a Teams chat or something. Well, 90% of the time, whenever the written word's read, it's usually taken negative. Yeah, that's right. It's taken negative. So how do we answer those 3 questions in a good light and keep people moving and build trust? Well, we need to turn on our video cameras. That's right. We need to be talking to people face to face. And I know with the pandemic, people would sit there and they'd wear sport coats and shirts and just shorts and flip-flops on their conference calls, or they had their video off because they just didn't decide to take a shower that morning. We need to be intentional. Got to turn on the videos. Got to talk to each other. We have to look everybody in the eyes. Well, we also still have to make sure that we are functioning and trying to build trust at high levels. So we need to make sure what our atmosphere looks like. What does that look like for you? For me, I've got this background, which is, wood, which is usually warm. If you have a steel, if I saw, behind me that it looked like bars from a prison cell, well, people are going to be kind of a little put off. So your environment matters. So we need to make sure that the colors and where we're at is actually kind of a warming, trusting, and relaxed environment. Because people actually will associate the environments with us. If we're having meetings in person and it's sitting inside of a subway where people are constantly running by and yelling and all that stuff, people are going to be on edge, and it's hard to build trust when you're on edge. Same thing when we're in our conferences. We need to not talk over each other, which is so hard when you're on a Teams meeting because someone's talking and they just butt in. It's kind of hard to do that. When you have videos and everybody's seeing each other, they click on mute, and then you can actually see them move forward. It's actually a good tool. But we also need to pay attention to the colors we wear. When we're trying to build trust, there's different colors that are involved in how you build trust. Yep, that's right. If you're wearing these power ties and this mean demeanor, think it's going to build trust? No. We need to make sure we have the right colors when we're engaging people on as well. I encourage people to read the book Influence. It will give you a great insight on how the different colors, scents, and all that stuff actually really help you. Now, you can't really smell perfumes during an online meeting, but we need to make sure we're cognizant of this stuff. So when we finally are in interactions with them, we actually benefit. Okay? Now, the other thing I also recommend is doing trainings together where you guys are learning together. Because as you learn and you guys discuss topics, it actually builds trust. People get to get insight and their influence just by talking to other people and sharing information, going, hey, I like that. This works. Let's take this tool and put it in my toolbox and I'm going to use it. Thank you, John, for your help. And sometimes you're going to have, well, I don't agree with that. And you have to manage those conversations so they don't get confrontational. But you can have a good discussion even when people don't agree on the same topic. It can happen. And we need to make sure that we're learning together. Now, the other thing I also recommend is read a book. That's right. By learning together and discussing the book, like on a weekly meeting, taking 5 or 10 minutes to discuss a book you guys are all reading. And yes, I know that reading is difficult, but I read about 12 books a year because I read 10 pages a day. By reading 10 pages a day, you can do a 300-page book a month, pretty much. A lot of business books that I read are under 300 pages. I am doing pretty well, and I am the slowest reader that I know. I think my kids at this point read faster than me. But we need to be reading together. So maybe it's a book a quarter, so it's only 4 books a year that you're actually reading with your teams, but you're discussing. And as you learn, you will build your rapport. You will build trust and being fair. Now, the last thing I always do, and I always teach people, most organizations and leadership teams, they always overcommit and underproduce. So they'll say we're going to do something, and they come up short. Do you think that builds trust? No. You want to build trust? That's what we're here for, right? You want to undercommit, overproduce. And to do that is, if something's going to take you 5 or 6 days to complete, buffer in an extra day or so and say, hey, it's going to take me this many days. And then when you hit that date or improve on that date, what happens? Well, wow, you're a rock star. You've undercommitted. You've overproduced for me. You've helped me. Thank you. That one skill right there has netted me a lot more business and a lot more trust in relationships because I am definitely hitting the mark. And when we hit the mark, we actually build trust with customers and with team members. All right? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I have links below. You can access my website, different trainings that I have. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, share it with somebody on your team if you think it'll add value. All right? We'll see you next time.